An icy wind chills the air. The days shrink. Mortals cloak their dwellings with light in a futile effort to blot out the shadows. But as demonstrated in the 1992 moving picture Batman Returns, even the cheer of the mortal holidays provides no succor for those destined to dwell in darkness. As with so many moving pictures, Sega and Nintendo, the twin tyrants of the 16-bit epoch, both devised versions of Batman Returns for their own home gaming device. But can a video game, what is effectively a toy for especially stupid mortal children, ever capture such despair?
Your channel is targeting people who enjoy video games.
Huh? But can a video game, a compelling 21st century mortal art form, ever capture such despair? Let us find out! In the Super Nintendo version of Batman Returns, a beat-them-up game, Batman, a lumbering oaf with no outward signifiers of intellect, walks slowly to the right, clobbering his foes with brute force and limited mobility. Yet even in these stilted movements, he displays far more agility than his cinematic counterpart, who, due to technological limitations, is forced into utterly unnatural movements to make up for his pathetic inability to turn his own head. Fortunately for the Super Nintendo version of The Dark Knight... Do you suppose he's affiliated with the Dark Knights of the desecrated Cathedral of Zaerthalar?
I don't believe he is pledged to the service of any knightly order.
Well, contact the Dark Knights and inquire directly. Oh, and admonish them that they strive in vain to eclipse my power!
I'll send a message.
Yes, good. The Super Nintendo version of Batman is aided by the sheer ineptitude of his antagonist, the hideous Penguin Man of the sewers. The moving picture suggests the Penguin Man is but 33 years old, making him several centuries too young to hope to even grasp the basics of evil army management. This failing is on full display in every unskilled goon that blinks out of reality at Batman's feet. The Penguin Man intentionally sends the weaker enemies to face Batman first, yet he clearly counts among his followers clowns armed with rocket launchers capable of felling Batman almost instantly. Why not invest exclusively in the rocket launcher clowns? For that matter, why permit easy enemies to fight at all? Weak servants should be called in a series of internal tournaments to the death, held within the darkest depths of one's castle, from which only the worthy emerge.
The Penguin lives in a sewer. His resources are limited.
Well, that case could be made had he but a single rocket launcher. But if one is capable of obtaining dozens of rocket launchers, it then stands to reason they're operating in an environment in which rocket launchers are readily accessible. Does it not?
Maybe there was a sale?
Very well. Even allowing those are the only rocket launchers, why not surround Batman the moment he begins his adventure? You are defending incompetence! Ugh. Sega's version of the Dark Knight... Oh, what of the Dark Knights of the fallen citadel of Goltheon?
Remember? They were slain by the high priestesses of Rixkandar.
Oh, yes. Thus the worthy ever distinguish themselves from the weak.
Yes.
Sega's version of Batman also walks slowly to the right, this time aided by a utility belt full of gadgets. But Sega's Penguin Man employs smarter followers. Instead of blindly rushing into combat, they cleverly attack from beyond the edge of the screen, making them impossible to avoid. Meanwhile, the levels, far from the Super Nintendo's faithful simulacra of the moving picture sets, are instead winding labyrinths out of which egress is but a madman's fading dream. One may be tempted, then, into believing the Super Nintendo version more accurately reflects the moving picture. It certainly looks similar. but looks deceive. The Super Nintendo game, for all its technical prowess, makes mockery of the moving picture's themes by suggesting a just world in which a man dressed as a bat can punch his way through any evil. But just as the moving picture awards Batman only the hollowest of triumphs, his Sega Genesis avatar can achieve no victory. The game begins not with an invigorating call to battle, but with a dour depiction of Batman's failure to rescue Gotham's Ice Princess from the Penguin Man's fatal machinations. With her death, Batman has failed to prevent the one thing he vowed as a grieving and vengeful mortal child he would never permit happen again. While the same event is depicted in the Super Nintendo version, it is just one more chance for Konami to show how faithfully they can recreate a scene from the moving picture with no understanding of its terrible weight. On the Sega Genesis, Batman is already broken, has already lost, and wanders without purpose through joyless, poorly laid out stage after joyless, poorly laid out stage, until at last, exhausted, undone, alone, he falls limp from the same rooftops over which he once leapt with the rapturous certainty of youth, claimed as the Ice Princess before him by the cold pavement of the streets he failed to protect.
That's actually just one possible ending. To get the good ending, you have to defeat Catwoman during the credits. If you're stuck, we could probably look up tips.
Batman's lifeless body lies on the street for only a moment before the game begins again, allowing the cycle of failure to continue. It is a cycle from which the Dark Knight... Did you contact the Dark Knights?
Yeah, they said they didn't know him.
Well, we shall see what they say when I tear down their abominable chantry, stone by stone, and claim their tome of the 9 sigil stones of...
Talking about Batman?
About who? It is a cycle from which the falsely named Dark Knight can never escape. For Batman is mortal, and for all mortals, no amount of festive lights or holiday tidings can long keep out the cold and the dark that awaits them all. The abyss will find them. I will find them.
So you recommend the Sega Genesis version?
For what purpose?
For mortal viewers to play.
Ugh, certainly not.
Okay, then the Super Nintendo version.
Either would be a complete waste of time. How could a mortal possibly gain joy pretending to be a man, pretending to be a bat, knowing their time on Earth is finite and growing shorter by the moment?
Just hold up one of the games so we can cut to the Happy Holidays graphic.
To the what? I agreed to no such graphic. You put it up anyway, didn't you?